What's up, Blazineers and Blazinettes? So I figured since Resident Evil: The Final Chapter is on its way to theaters this weekend, I figured I'd start a countdown to that movie. Conveniently, there isn't that many movies before. Before there weren't that many movies before. This upcoming conclusion to the franchise. So like I said, I'd figure I'd count down and just sort of relive. Um, my experiences with the previous movies. So there's going to be spoilers in these reviews. So if you have not watched any of the movies, especially this one, you may want to leave. So go watch it, and then I'm about to fuck it up for you. So here we go. So like even seeing the trailers, like for the movie, you definitely have an idea that is not going to be a direct interpretation of the video games. Um, at that time it didn't bother me, and thinking back on it, it still doesn't bother me that they didn't go direct. They weren't 100% true to the source material, just with the Umbrella Incorporation and the virus, and the virus turned people to undead zombies and mutant creatures and so on and so forth. But thankfully, the characters that that filled in the shoes of Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, thankfully, like Alice and Rain and some, like, just to mention a few of these new characters in the movie. Thankfully, they carried the movie pretty well, especially since they all work for the company, and you have Alice who has no memory of what she's done before then, and no memory of being an employee of Umbrella and doing and just she's like trying to collect her memories together. Like, what did I do? What happened? What happened? And and yeah, like I'm just thinking like this was pretty scary. I mean, like this was like a scary movie. Like like the whole franchise is like just like more like an action franchise, but this particular movie was pretty scary, and I loved Marilyn Manson's music score. I mean, especially for like the theme of the movie, I really enjoyed it, and man, I mean, like I just wish that they had. I mean, part of me wishes that they continued with his music score all the way through the franchise, but I have forgiven them, them for not bringing it back and for not using it again for the other movies. But yeah. So I'm thinking like when I saw pictures for this movie, like a year before its release, one exploded for me, like where Michelle Rodriguez's character Rain gets turned into a zombie. Now I saw her in full zombie mode, and I'm like, okay. I mean, like, I kind of wish I didn't see that, but after seeing that, and when I actually watched the movie, I was waiting for that to happen after she got bit. I'm like, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? I'm getting antsy here. The anxiety is getting real. But the zombies were scary as fuck. I would say that they are scary as hell. Like, quite rarely, zombies are scary in zombie movies, but here they actually were pretty fucking scary. And the zombie dogs, they were fucking scary too. And speaking of the zombie dogs, like when oh, excuse me, like when Alice has to basically defend herself against them, and she runs out of bullets, and then she runs up on the wall, she kicks one through one of them through the window. I'm like, come on. I mean, as cool as that was, I mean, looking back on that, like that that was pretty ridiculous, even though it was cool, but it was kind of ridiculous too. Um and and also, like, it makes me think like let's say like with The Walking Dead and they didn't go directly with its source material, and then we just followed Daryl Dixon, like first, and then we were introduced to the characters from the graphic novels of The Walking Dead later on after we started to follow Daryl Dixon. That's what basically this movie is like. Where we're following Alice first, and even though it's completely different and it's like totally separate from the video game franchise, but the pattern is kind of similar. Where they're in the mansion and they go underground into this Umbrella facility, and by the end of the movie, poof, the virus breaks through Raccoon City, where it leads up to the sequel, and that's how the part 2 was in the video game, like where it's all over Raccoon City now, where it was in the mansion, now it's in Raccoon City. But excuse me, but it is totally different, and you see not only with the characters that they've chosen for this movie, not only does it show that it stands on its own, but seeing that one of the characters is going to become Nemesis, and you see like, okay, so they're definitely going a different route. I mean, like, Nemesis didn't show up until the 3rd game, so I'm like, it's kind of early for him to be in the movie. Like, couldn't we just go with Tyrant? So I'm disappointed that they couldn't be like, okay, we're it's open up the Tyrant program or something like that. That's what I would have done. Start with Tyrant and then have Nemesis later on down the road. But it's still a good movie for what it was. It was scary, and it was a little action-packed, but it was more of a hard movie rather than an action flick. You know what I mean? So even though this is an action flick like franchise, but yeah, it still kind of holds up. I mean, like, and that's usually a very bold, like a very risky move, like when you do that with video game movies, especially with video game movies, like because like 9 times out of 10 that doesn't work out, but this conveniently did work out. And thinking back on it, I'm actually okay with it, even though that's not that's not the route that I would have gone, but I'm still okay with it. So with that all being said, this gets 3.5 chair spins out of 5. 1, 2, 3.5 chair spins. So let's see here. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking like, which version would I prefer over the video game, the first video game, over this particular movie? I don't know. I mean, like, I'd probably go with the video game, because it, I have more fond memories trying to fight my way through the mansion and get through the facility and get out of there and find Jill or find Chris, whichever version of the video game you were playing. And so I mean, like, Alice is cool, and it's kind of weird that her name was never uttered in the movie, and I don't know how I knew her name was Alice beforehand. Like, well, in the credits, like when they show her name in the credits, but I just find it funny how we never heard her name before. But hey, it is what it is, and I gotta say, so I mean, like, and I say the sequel, like part 2 of Resident Evil Apocalypse does carry like the story quite well. So I'll get to that in my review for that movie. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed my review on this first movie of the franchise, make sure you thumb up the video and make sure you click subscribe if you're a newbie to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I gotta say, yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I'll pick up on that in my review for the second movie. So in the meantime, I'll see you guys in that video. Peace out, y'all.